Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka's routes to the Australian Open final as draw is revealed. Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka are among the WTA stars taking on this year's Australian Open in Melbourne. Melbourne Park plays host to the Australian Open, a tournament that American star Madison Keys won in 2025. She beat Sabalenka in the final last time out, with the Belarusian having won the title in each of the 2 years prior. Gauff meanwhile beat Sabalenka in the 2025 French Open final, but the WTA superstar has never made it past the semi-finals of the Australian Open. Coco Gauff learns potential route to the Australian Open final. World number 3 Gauff now has the chance to make up for that at this year's Australian Open, where she is the 3rd seed. The draw has now been confirmed for the tournament, with 2-time Grand Slam champion Gauff starting out against Kamila Rakimova. Should she prevail, the 21-year-old could face either Olga Danilovic or a mouth-watering tie against Venus Williams. Former Wimbledon champion Marketa Vondrousova represents a potential third-round opponent, with Karolina Muchova or Emma Navarro possibly up after that. At the quarterfinal stage, Gauff could meet Mira Andreeva or Elena Svitolina, with a formidable semifinal clash with Sabalenka a possibility. And should the talented American make the final in Melbourne, she could be reunited with 6-time Grand Slam champion Iga Swiatek. 2-time champion and WTA number 1 Aryna Sabalenka's Australian Open draw. As for world number 1 and 2-time champion Sabalenka, she will start out against Tyansoa Sarah Rakitomanga Rajana. Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova could be her second-round opponent, followed by Emma Raducanu or Anastasia Potapova in round 3. Young talents Victoria Mboko and Clara Tauson represent potential 4th-round ties, while Sabalenka could meet Jasmine Paolini or Ekaterina Alexandrova after that. Andreeva is a potential semi-final opponent alongside Gauff, while she could meet Swiatek, Amanda Anisimova or Elena Rybakina in the final. It certainly isn't straightforward for Sabalenka, although her history at the event and overall form in Australia speak for themselves. She enters the tournament in fantastic form, with Sabalenka having won the Brisbane International earlier this month for her 22nd career title. The Belarusian didn't drop a set at the tournament, while she's now remarkably won 38 of her last 40 matches in Australia. Aryna Sabalenka Australian Open White Medium Star 2 stories, 1 grand stage, Gauff and Sabalenka's Australian Open journeys. As the Australian Open 2026 draw was unveiled in Melbourne this week, the women's singles landscape suddenly gleams with possibility, drama, rivalry, and the promise of history. 2 of the biggest names in tennis, Coco Gauff, the rising American powerhouse, and Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 1 from Belarus, find themselves on a collision course with destiny at Melbourne Park. Their routes to the final are more than a bracket position. They are narratives filled with contrasting styles, evolving rivalries, personal growth, and the hopes of their fans around the world. Tennis Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning powerhouse, seeking return to the top. At the very top of the women's singles draw sits Aryna Sabalenka, a dominant force in women's tennis and a 2-time Australian Open champion, 2023 and 2024. Her presence in the draw instantly reshapes expectations. She isn't just another contender, she's the player to beat. Sabalenka dove into the main draw with a comparatively favorable opening sequence, hoping to harness her unique brand of power tennis and mental ferocity. 1. Early rounds, her likely opener against wildcard Tyansoa Rakitomanga Rajana sets a manageable tone, before moving into a second-round contest that could test her rhythm against a qualifier or seasoned campaigner Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. 2. Middle rounds. In the 3rd to 4th rounds, challenges start to stack up, a probable clash with Emma Raducanu looms, followed by potential battles against rising talents like Clara Tauson or seasoned foes such as Victoria Mboko. 3. Quarterfinals. The pressure mounts with a seeded opponent like Jasmine Paolini or Ekaterina Alexandrova, a matchup where Sabalenka's ground strokes and aggression can intimidate, but consistency and endurance will be tested. 4. Semifinals. This is where the path could turn electrifying. A showdown against Coco Gauff looms. Sabalenka and Gauff have an extremely tight head-to-head record and have split big matches across hard and clay courts in recent seasons. 5. Finals potential. If Sabalenka preserves her energy and tactical discipline, her final opponent could be one of the sport's biggest names, Iga Swiatek, Madison Keys, Amanda Anisimova, or another giant of the women's game. Sabalenka's route reflects the duality of mastery and challenge. On paper, she has a smoother start than many, but the deeper she goes, the more stakes and skill converge. With a Grand Slam trophy already in her pocket multiple times, she knows what the final feels like. This time, she wants to reclaim the Melbourne crown she missed last year. Fire Coco Gauff, the young titan on the rise. Coco Gauff's presence in the Australian Open draw is an electrifying one. She's a two-time Grand Slam champion, including French Open and US Open titles in 2025, and she enters Melbourne not as an underdog, but as a true favorite with enormous momentum. Gauff's path offers its own unique narrative arc, a blend of strategic brilliance, youth-driven energy, and a growing resolve to seize the biggest moments. 1. Early rounds. Gauff likely opens her Australian campaign against Kamila Rakimova, a match that, on paper, serves as a stage setter, a chance to find rhythm and unleash her heavy, versatile ground strokes. 2. Rising tension. In subsequent rounds, she could be tested by veteran competitors like Venus Williams, offering a symbolic passing of the torch moment should Gauff prevail. 3. Mid-tournament challenges. Gauff may encounter strong seeds such as Emma Navarro or Mira Andreeva, players notorious for gritty rallies and unpredictable shot-making. 4. The semis. The path inevitably converges with Sabalenka, a back-and-forth dynamic that has defined recent WTA matchups. Gauff's athleticism and strategic variety versus Sabalenka's raw power and aggression. This isn't just a semi-final, it's a modern tennis epic in the making. 5. Final dreams. If she emerges victorious from the top half of the draw, the Australian Open final beckons, a glorious chance for Gauff not just to win another major but to etch her name into tennis history as one of the sport's most versatile, complete competitors. While the seeds are neatly numbered next to her name, what makes Gauff's journey compelling isn't the listing of opponents. It's the sense that each match could be a personal evolution, smarter tactics, more explosive movement, and the mental toughness to seize her moment.